for tuning in to another episode of The Jasmine Tea, where I give you piping hot commentary on your favorite Blackity Black shows. I'm your host, Jasmine, and tonight I'll be recapping Queen of the South Season 5, Episode 4. This season has been super duper exciting. Teresa's been giving us the business this whole time, and I've been loving it. So let's dive straight into our What's Been Brewing moments and see what the people have been talking about on Beyonce's internet. And number one, the people out here calling Teresa a cokehead. Now, we have seen her take a few extra sniffs this season when she gets stressed or, just seeming like it's an intense moment. We've seen her take a hit, but for some reason they said that Teresa is a cokehead and she out here making dumbass decisions. Now, I don't think she's making dumbass decisions. She's making really bold decisions, going against the Russians, bringing in the Dominicans. She's really just running her business, but I do want her to watch the coke. I don't want her to continue getting high off her own supply. I like Teresa with a clear head, a nice lacy negligee top and a power suit, just a boss bitch attitude, but the streets feel like she may be pushing a little bit. Second brewing moment is the people feel like James needs a break, okay? He's been going through some stressful moments here. We saw him pop back up this season, and while we're glad he's back, we love seeing him and Teresa kind of have their little wannabe lovey-dovey moments. I love you or I like you, but I'm not going to say that. We enjoy the tension, right? But James has been kicking butt and taking names since he came back. And we'll get into it when we talk about our piping hot moments. But this episode in particular, he was put in a really stressful situation. And Twitter just feels like James needs to go somewhere, pack his bags, and be done with it for a while. Last but certainly not least, our boy Dumas is still in jail. So remember last week, Teresa ended up ratting out Marcel and letting him take the fall for Judge Lafayette's death. It was really fucked up. However, she was still just trying to save her business. Like, what was she supposed to do? Who else was supposed to go to jail? Now, I feel like, remember in Snowfall, if y'all really love to trap and watch all the drug shows, in Snowfall, they had one of Leon's friends take the fall for him. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he ended up getting killed. But I feel like they could have found somebody else in Louisiana, somebody else in their business to take the fall instead of Marcel. But it probably wouldn't have been as good of a storyline. I just think he's fine and enjoy seeing him in suits and stuff as opposed to like prison clothes. But whatever, it's cool. We glad he's still on the cast. But we're still pretty pissed that he's in jail and Teresa turned out to be a snitch. Hopefully she can get him out because he deserves vindication. But the streets are rallying behind him. Set Dumas free. Our piping hot moments from this episode, that's 3 things that really stood out and kind of drove the episode and helped it make some shifts. Number 1 was when Lucien decided to visit Teresa. Now remember, Lucien is like Dumas's mentor. He kind of picked him up from the streets, groomed him, helped him come up in this drug business. But now Dumas has made it very clear, like, this is my show, bruh. I run this. But Lucien, since Dumas is currently in jail, saw this as an opportunity to approach Teresa in order to keep the business going, right? Like, he approached her like, hey, send me a shipment. I'll handle it, and we can keep this thing pumping. Teresa, as always, was skeptical, rightfully so. I feel like she was looking at him like, I deal with Marcel. I don't really know your ass. And I feel like that's perfectly fine. As we later see in the episode, he turned out to be on some sneak shit, but we'll get to that a little later. Second piping hot moment was when Teresa ordered James to kill Eli. Now, remember, Eli was like Judge Lafayette's new henchman. He was the black cop that Judge Lafayette had paid to go to night school or something. Basically, Lucien and Dumas were the same type of father figure-esque type of relationship that Lafayette and Eli had. Except maybe just, I won't even say a little less corruption. Everybody was doing dirty things, so it don't really matter. But Eli had approached Teresa before now and had already asked, Judge Lafayette is dead. You can start paying me now. So he wouldn't know Angel anyway. But Teresa said that he needed to die Why? Because the FBI was sniffing around and she did not need him ratting them out. Eli had just helped them because he did come through in the clutch and find the judge's ledger that had all of his little track records of his devious deeds against these young teens that he was locking up in jail and giving super long sentences for minor offenses. So he did come through in the clutch with that. However, if he had the opportunity to sit with the FBI, I think he would have snitched on Teresa and them too, because he's trying to save his own ass. He got a wife, he got a house, an image to uphold. So I definitely think he would have turned on them. But it was just such a gangster moment, I guess, in the season. Because Teresa didn't think, she didn't pause or nothing. She was like, kill him. And James, the reason we said he needed a break is because, he really didn't want to. He actually tried to not necessarily fight for the guy, but he was like, maybe he won't rat us out. Do we really have to do this? And then Teresa came in with the flex real quick and was like, then you used to kill people for the CIA? Okay, but now you got a problem? Now you don't want to kill nobody, but you did it for the government. And James looked shooketh. He looked like, he looked a little hurt. Like she struck a nerve. We, the people on the internet, were definitely like, dang. But I still enjoyed the moment. And as we know, James does not disappoint. He got the job done. Okay, it looked like he had to stand in the closet for about 12,000 hours. But he got the job done. Nice little spray, quick injection. I don't know what these things are, but I appreciated seeing that traitor go down. As I said in the first episode, you may be brown, but that don't mean you down. And Earl was not down for the people when the show first started out. So the fact that he's gone really means nothing to me. Our third and final piping hot moment was when Teresa and Kellyanne went and met with the feds and convinced them that everything was fine, nothing, cocaine related was really going on. And this was just a really boss bitch power moment. Like they were sitting across from the federal agent or whatever, and the feds were trying to raid Teresa's bar. They had gotten a tip from who we then discovered was Lucian. Okay, Lucian, remember I said we'll come back to him later. Here we are. Lucian, on the low, tipped the feds off to Dumas's getaway car. Remember when James was trying to take him to the safe house and help him escape? Lucian was the one who told the feds, like, hey, this is what car they in. Secondly, Lucian also tipped off the feds when he called and asked Teresa, like, hey, let's keep this thing going. Send me a shipment. When she said yes, he tipped off the feds, and they were planning to come and raid Teresa's bar after they pulled over the truck that should have had that shipment in there. So Lucian was dirty. Pote should have took him out the game, and Pote did his job in doing so. So while all of that was like going on in the background, okay, Teresa and Kellyanne met with the feds and, just really gave him the business. Kellyanne stepped in the end with this lovely little racial profiling monologue. Some people weren't feeling it. Some people on Twitter were like, girl, what you doing? We don't need you to be our savior. Other people were like, bravo, Kellyanne. I was on the bravo side. I like her little sassy attitude. I don't really feel like it's fake. Kellyanne, she was married to a rich white man, but she doesn't give off rich white woman vibes. Like Kellyanne, she hits me like she used to eat bologna sandwiches. Like she didn't always come from money, so she doesn't have the same type of ignorant, off-putting sense of affluence that other people do. So I was here for it. Needless to say, of course, the feds didn't find any cocaine in Teresa's truck. They only found tequila. So they let Kellyanne and Teresa go. Teresa did tell them, though, like, hey, I'm here to confess that I was paying off the judge and paying off Eli as well, to kind of like give them a little bit of something to keep them from seeing the whole thing. But that was another piping hot moment for me. I felt like it was a real driver of the show. Remember, Kellyanne is pregnant. Once they got out of the feds office, I keep saying the feds office. I don't think it was the police station. They don't share, right? But yeah, once they got out of there, Kellyanne was throwing up. She's still pregnant. I don't know what it's like to be pregnant, but a lot of vomit just seems to be involved. And as I said, Pote took care of Lucian quick, fast, and in a hurry. Like Pote, that's my guy, man. He just handles business. He shot him in the head. It was a lot. Like I feel like they put a lot of effects into that because the splatter. While I'm sure it wasn't as intense as what it is in real life, it looked real thick. Lots of sound effects. He's definitely dead. And even when Teresa called Dumas back and was like, hey, we had to kill your boy because he was snitching, Dumas was still like, I don't really want to fuck with you because you put me in here. So I highly doubt that you'd be the one to get me out. But what do you guys think as we head over into our games and guesses segment of the show? Do you think that Teresa is going to successfully get Dumas out of jail? Do you think Pote and Kellyanne are having a boy or a girl? What do you want it to be? I would like it to be a girl since we already got to see a boy in the scene with Tony, R.I.P. But I would like it to be a girl. I think Pote would just be like a puddle of mush. If he had a little baby daughter, that would be cute to see. And also tell me, who do you think Teresa's going to end up sticking with partner-wise by the end of the season? So she's currently working with the Russians. She's currently working with the Dominicans. And she has some real estate deals going on as well. But who do you think is going to be her ride or die? It seems like by the end of every season, Teresa has like burned all of her bridges, pissed off everybody, and like darts off to a new city. So this is our second season with her being in Louisiana. And I don't think, oh, this is the last season anyway. Dang. All right, well, who do you think she's going to be with by the end of it? Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for coming by. I will be back next week with a recap of episode 5. Find me on social media at TheJasmineT on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. If you have any questions, comments, or observations about the shows, email me at TheJasmineT, that's T-E-A, like up here at the top, TheJasmineTPC@gmail.com. See you later.